Welcome back to the program. Thanks for staying with us for this special edition of Newsnight. Before we begin to wind up the discussion, we need to get some of your feedback and get some more thoughts from some of our guests. Let's put up some of those thoughts. 2242 is the SMS line, and the hashtag is Newsnight, and hashtag Stop the Terrorists. Okay, Mureithi, you say, who cursed us as Kenyans? Do we have respect for personal property? Do we have morals? Has our education helped us grow socially? Or is it grades-oriented? Has the church and religious teachings bettered us? Or are they opportunist? Where are our ethics? Where is our humanity? Questions that may not have answers right now. Samson Mwangi, you say, the government has clearly said that the sector needs to be registered and not that the sector is closed. We never accept accountability nor responsibility, but empty noise. Let us mature mentally. All right? Using hashtag Newsnight. Chester Nyantika, you say, anyone demeaning a woman as was witnessed yesterday on Forest Road isn't worthy to be categorized as a human being. Women are our mothers, they are our sisters, daughters, nieces, etc. Severe punishment must be meted out to the perpetrators of the act to serve as a deterrent to would-be beasts. Chester Nyantika there in caps to show his frustration. Dr. John, the registration order, what will it entail? I assume the NTSA already has all the records. How will it contribute to behavior change? And Kevin, I'll allow you to respond to that when we continue. Wamboy, you say, Angie Siparo speaking many truths, refusing to sweep humanity under the carpet. The lady's sexual assault and the Boda person's injury should both be referenced. All right, we'll take a few more. Alex Owiti, you say the chair of the Boda Association should have a written apology to the lady who was a victim of violence and hooliganism. This apology should be done in person also. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, let's see. Timothy, I am with the Boda riders. Why not punish the culprits alone? The rest are good guys. Remember, we're in a country where everything is rogue. Politicians, religious leaders, civil servants are rogue. Do we punish them? Give Bodas a chance to apologize. Let's do the last one in the interest of time. Hakim Ziyech, you say Boda operators are not criminals, but there are criminals in the Boda sector. And I'll be reading some of your SMSs using the SMS line 2242. I'll take a look at those shortly, but I want to give each of my guests a chance to respond. Kevin, quickly, let me start with you. The process of registering a Boda rider, doesn't it make it possible to track them now, or is it very limited?
Okay. First of all, there's something I want to clarify that is true. Not all Boda riders in this country are criminals or they are rogue people. You have very honest people who have rode the motorbike, they feed their family, they have built, they paid school fees for their children, so they pay taxes through fuel that we take. So not all of them they are criminal. We just have few elements which we are going to uproot. So the process of registration, it will entail several things. Your name, the county where you operate from, your number, your ID, your next of kin, your stage.
It will entail, meaning it does not yet entail.
It entails that. That is what is our registration. Yes. Okay. Even I can show you what we have. It collects all that data, whereby when we see your number, your motorbike number plate, you can easily track and feed in and get all the details about you. This will be very easy to shield all those criminals, because if someone bought a motorbike, and you remember we have some people who just buy a motorbike for criminal activities. So a long time ago, they used to use vehicles. Nowadays, there are so many vehicles on the road, they cannot escape. So the easiest escape route is buying a motorbike, you snatch someone's phone, you rush away. So with that now, we are working with the police and all other government agencies to ensure that we do this registration process to get the honest and genuine riders on our roads. So that this blanket thing of saying all the Bodas are rogue, and also there's something that we have put in place. We are going to have committees in every sub-county that will be checking on the riders to ensure that they comply with the laws that are going to be laid down. Tomorrow we are going to have a meeting with the Boda officials to ensure that this thing is, the information is passed and implementation starts immediately.
You sat on a task force committee that even issued us some sort of report.
Yes.
What happened to the implementation of that report?
Okay, you know, when you have a task force report, it has to go to the cabinet for approval and all those other processes. So it still in the process going on.
2 years later?
But you know, there are things that are not rushed, because these are laws that you are looking into. These are things that are going to affect life of of people, a huge number of people. So it must be looked into it very carefully and keenly, so that when it comes out, it doesn't come out a raw deal that people will start crying, this is not what we wanted.
I suspect there are Kenyans who wish it was rushed. Maybe we wouldn't be here.
But there are some few recommendations that, like registration, training, sensitization of riders, those are things that are ongoing, and those were the recommendations also from the task force.
Angeline, I want to specifically speak about women, even as we are in the last hour of International Women's Day 2022. I saw a post by a woman saying, I'm not safe, I don't feel safe on a Boda anymore. I haven't felt safe in a matatu for a long time. I don't feel safe walking on the streets. I don't feel safe in an Uber. Can women wake up tomorrow in this country and go about their business feeling safe? Is there any guarantee? I'm not asking you like government, but speak to that. Do you feel safe when you leave your home in the morning?
I don't, and neither do my daughters. And I can assure you a lot of people watching. Today, as I was coming here, I saw a Boda waiting. And automatically, the first thing I thought, oh my God. So there's a place where I already am aware, I'm in the HIV sector. I'm already aware that there's a lot of girls who are violated by Boda riders. They carry young girls to school. I'm already aware that the teenage pregnancy conversation is going on, also linking issues to do with Boda. So safety is way beyond the Boda issue. Just in an Uber, there's a place where they ask you to sit behind because there's also a lot of groping that takes place. And you see, we have made, like, if you have a small girl, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, we are making them begin to think that there's something wrong with their body. Because when she sits in front, the person next to her feels that they have a right to grope her thighs. Which is the underlying issue. So for me, what I was going to say, because I know you're going to be looking at what are the solutions. When we are looking at the trainings that we are looking at for security, when we are looking at for when people are getting there, why don't we include an assessment element so that we know who is it that is actually taking this Boda? You see, one of the things that my colleague and my fellow chair, Dr. Atwoli Lukoe, will tell you is that we have, there's a place where psychosocial support, the counseling, the trauma release and everything will take place. But there are people who are on the edge. They will trigger anytime. You've heard of the issue of road rage, where you cut somebody and they go in and they remove their gun and they shoot you. It's not because you cut. There was already something boiling inside that triggered. So yesterday's situation is actually people on the edge. And as we go into election violence, sorry, forgive me, as we go into elections, the rate of violence against women also increases drastically. So my recommendation is that as we do the trainings, let's include an element where you do simple assessments for the mental health of the Boda riders. And there is no stigma anymore around mental health issues. A lot of the times where we are sitting, depression levels are very high. Depression levels, if you can't feed your family, if you have a wife who has to go and give birth and you don't have a card, there is a place where you're going to be struggling. So an assessment and including mental health training in all the trainings that we are going to do for Boda riders is important. We catch the ones, it's almost like when if you're getting people, like when you get a certificate of good conduct, what you're doing is that you're beginning to weed. But my issue here is don't do it without a solution, because the philosophy behind psychological support is do no harm. So if you assess them and then don't offer an intervention, then you have failed. And it is not difficult to offer an intervention because there are community strategies. Our team leader within the psychosocial support group, his name is Lincoln Ndungoni. Lincoln has worked across Africa. He's worked in Liberia, he's worked in Rwanda, there are ways you can de-escalate. Because right now what is happening is that we escalate situations very quickly. You can teach people how to de-escalate. You can teach people how to begin to trust that you're going to actually keep your word when you say you're going to follow something. You see, right now for most of us Kenyans, unless you have money or you have a godfather or you have somebody, most of us do not actually trust that the system will work. So that lack of faith is that I must take care of myself. So that's where we come into every conversation. We are ready to fight. And then there is a divide between the poor and the rich. So that now mtu akikugonga na gari anasema sisi tunanidharau because uko na gari yako. And then a lot of us give the girls the car because we are worried about them being on the road at night. So it is almost like a circle of violence. So that's why when we were breaking, you said the traffic terrorists. I actually say stop the sexual terrorists.
Stop the sexual terrorists.
Yes.
Dr. Kalua, your interpretation of what the president said today, because there are border operators who feel I can't operate now until my vehicle is, my motorbike is registered afresh. Is that what the president, what, you know, in terms of the implementation, because there was a bit of confusion?
He wants to see order. He appreciates, first of all. This was the first time the president was talking about the industry in the way that he did, appreciation of all this and the call for depoliticization. I think this was very good. Beyond that is a task that is going to be very challenging for the National Transport and Safety Authority to work with the government to be able to re-register the entire process. It's not going to be an easy process. It is going to be an opportunity for politicization. I pray that Kenyans do not politicize this process, because now you're bringing order in a space that is already organized in one way or another, but it is necessary as it is. And working with established institutions is going to be something extraordinary. I think also what he was saying, that this is not a license for this. This is not a license for terrorism. Mm-hmm. And I believe that the solution in this is to personalize the criminality. Just like the Chief Justice wrote a letter towards this, it needs to be personalized so that if I mess up, it's not anything to do with anybody else. It's myself to face the law and be able to deal with this issue. Taking it up to corruption, as he has said, this is a challenge across the country where some, because we have very able and very good and respectable police officers, and at the same time we have some who really have messed up and see this as an opportunity for corruption and being able to mess up this. How do we curb this? They need to be dealt with. Going ahead to road use. In the production of a motorcycle, there is what is called PDI, pre-delivery inspection. Mm-hmm. Countries like Thailand, they have a very well-organized system where the customer will be taken through every process. They will understand that they should not sleep late. They will understand you don't drink as you drive. They understand that you are not supposed to be smelly. They understand that you are supposed to have a helmet. All this, and I am happy as the chairperson of Honda in Kenya, and glory to God, that I have been able to say, actually you cannot sell a motorcycle of Honda. You are doing it at your own risk if you are selling it without a valid license to that customer. And this has been applied by most of the other motorcycle assemblers. This is what the president is saying. This is not a license to mess up in these areas. The issue of pressure, as we talk about some of these things, there is indeed pressure at the household level. They are not able to place food on the table. And some of this you're seeing, and I repeat, because when I said it earlier, there was mixed reaction on all this. They have families. They have children. They want to place food on the table. They are paying interest at about 3.5 to 5% per month. This amounts to so much. When you see that guy rushing, he wants to pay his 530 shillings per day, and unless he does that within 3 weeks or 1 month, he's going, the motorcycle, which is the only livelihood in the family, is going to be taken away. Where do you take 9 million Kenyans who are living and enjoying this process in that manner? The cost of fuel is expensive, just like the Boda team members are saying. We need to be able to see what we can deal with. Some of them, and I talked about this, and someone said that it is okay that they should pay 3,000 shillings for a driving license, just like anyone else who is driving a Prado and anyone else. These are our brothers. When they are hit by accident, when they are not trained because they can't afford the 3,000 shillings, it's a mess. And therefore, we need to be appreciative that this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. How do you address it? By just saying, put it at 5,000 shillings? Are you going to create more thieves and more hooligans because of doing this? Some of the things that we must be able to to deal with training, and NTSA has been taken to court because of issues of the driving school. And I think and I pray that this will be dealt with at the right time. We are talking about the road space. I talked about it earlier on, and this is a fact. The Motorcycle Assemblers has visited the Highways Institution, and they have agreed that truly Kenyan roads had not been designed with the traffic inclusion of Boda Bodas. They are now informed and they are dealing with that, and therefore we are able to appreciate some of these facts. So this is not to say that things should not be respected. I think we need to pick these people as our own brothers and sisters. When they are hurt, when they are dead, when they are sick, we are directly affected. The moment we create the reason to be in, to operate as a unity, and as unity in the entire country, I think it is going to bring out quite a lot. And above all, the issue of legislation articulation, so that people can be able, by the way, the government and the institutions in NTSA and all this, they are doing a lot. Sometimes it is not said out there that this is what is happening, but our personalized process to be able to understand and take this.
Okay. I want to read the SMS and then get final thoughts. You'll be amazed how much time.
Where are the people who did this to this girl? Are they in? Are we having
I believe so.
Because that, if it was a terrorist, we would not be having this conversation. I am sorry to interrupt you, but again, the question of the value of the woman. You see, we are talking about institutions, NTSA, outrage, upset, but is the woman feeling safe that those people are in? You see, no one is talking about it. When we had George Floyd, there had to be an arrest, and there had to be evidence that something had been done. This is our George Floyd issue. This is a time to get the knee off the women's necks. We can't do it any other way. And I get emotional because it's so easy.
Let me say this. Let me surprise you with the ownership of motorcycles in Kenya and women.
We are not interested in ownership of motorcycles. We are interested in the fact that there is a woman who has been traumatized. Her chilling screams are on video. No one has done a George Floyd. Where are those people? It is very nice for outrage. Our Minister for Security, are those people in? There was a policeman that arrived. There's border, you have registration. Why are we still talking about it as if it's something that can be negotiated? This is the bottom underlying issue around women's lives. You cannot do it any other way. My brother, I'm sorry. It's so nice to have this conversation, but there has to be action. It has to be a George Floyd moment. Get the knee off women's necks. Where are the men? If you can't answer that, then you have no reason to continue with this panel, Oigwa, because it just becomes another talk show. And I know you don't do talk shows. I know you believe, where are the men who did this to this woman? Their faces are on video. You can't tell me registration, I don't know what, funding. That's not what we're interested in. Do a George Floyd for us, and then we know you're serious. And citizen, you have the power. So get the knee off women's necks. Because those people were equivalent to those 9 minutes that white man knelt on George Floyd. 9 minutes. Do you know how long it takes for 9 minutes? And someone was filming it. So, Waigwa, really, I rest my case.
Waigwa, as we talk about that, let me explain. Yes, because this is very important, and why I feel it like she is putting it through. Do you know the number of motorcycles that are bought on a monthly basis, Waigwa? They are 25,000 on a monthly basis, thereabout. 60% of the ones that are bought of these motorcycles are owned by women. The boys you are seeing on the streets, they are not the owners of the bikes, most of them. They're owned by women in this level, and therefore, when we say that the woman has been hit, has been vandalized, has been sexually arrested, has been dealt by terrorists, we must be able to take it further and move from plan to action. It is exactly
maybe just to add
go ahead
to talk about that issue. We are working very closely with the police, and there are some few people that we have identified that were at the scene. So just be assured the police will do a good job.
People in or not? Yes. It's a George Floyd moment. I don't care who owns the Boda think. Are the men in?
Okay, George that one Floyd. Leave it for the police to give a report, but we are working with them. They will release.
This is still part of the rhetoric. Show me that woman's screams were heard by somebody. Waigwa, that thing, the chilling screams.
Wahiga.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So now even your name has disappeared.
Which is I want us to finish this before it completely disappears. Yes.
So show me the men inside. Show me that they are in. Show me that there is action that has been taken. That woman will at least begin to breathe. Because right now she's not breathing.
We're going to take that as the last word for this discussion this evening. Thank you so much. What has been a very difficult conversation. I want to thank each of my guests who found time, especially Angeline Siparo. I know you had said you don't want to talk about this, but you found time to join us today, and thank you. And your message has been heard, not just by the men in the panel, but all the men who are watching this program this evening. She's a Regional Advocacy Director at the Psychosocial Support Center. She also chairs the National AIDS Control Council. We also had here with us Kevin Mubadi, National Executive Chair of the Boda Safety Association of Kenya. Thank you for finding time for us this evening. And Dr. Kalua Green, asante sana. He's the chair of the Motorbike Assemblers Association. Motorcycle Assemblers. Thank you for that correction. Association of Kenya. It's been a difficult conversation. Difficult because I know there are people who can't watch the program this evening because of what they've gone through, because of the trauma around that. And again, something we try and handle as most delicately as possible, even as we update the nation on what is being done. And we certainly hope to hear more. We know there are meetings tomorrow. He's spoken towards one of them, where the authorities will continue to look at what needs to be done. And the question I know many are asking this evening is, beyond task force and orders, is real permanent action going to be carried out in a way that an incident like this never happens again? That is the question that we leave you with this evening. Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. My sign language interpreter this evening has been Wilson Mushora. On behalf of the whole team that's made this broadcast possible, and this evening I had a co-anchor, Victoria Rubaderi. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night and stay safe. May sanity reign in the country. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.